Wanda was born in Kansas City, Kansas, 65 years ago this coming Monday. Although she was the third of 5 children, she was the baby of the family for 8 wonderful years until her sister Kim came along. Her mom was a British war bride housewife, and her dad was in the military, which meant they got to move around a lot. They moved from Kansas to Illinois, back to Kansas, and then to Texas. When she was 6, they moved to England. Her brother Barry was only 2 years older than her, so they became close friends and allies against the British kids that didn't particularly care for the Yanks and used to try to beat them up every chance they could. Even though they were close, Wanda and Barry still had the normal brother-sister conflicts. Barry would get a little car stuck in her hair, so they had to cut off her pigtails. Wanda got mad at Barry, so she tried to cut off his thumb. Typical stuff. Not many people knew it, but there was another girl that lived in Wanda's house growing up. Her name was Tracy, and she looked exactly like Wanda. Wanda would tell some boys her name was Tracy so she could get away with dating multiple boys in school. When the boys would come over or call the house looking for Tracy, her mom would play along, but her dad didn't know what was going on. Wanda had a terrible fear of clowns, cave crickets, and salamanders. Now, if you've read Stephen King's book It, you can understand about the clowns. I remember once we were standing in line at 7-Eleven when a fully dressed party clown came in to buy something on his way to a birthday party. I saw him standing behind us, but Wanda didn't until she had paid for her Slurpee and turned around. All at once, she screamed, jumped straight up in the air, and turned in the opposite direction, all without spilling her Slurpee. And if you've ever been confronted by a cave cricket, you know where she's coming from. But salamanders? Seriously? One time a salamander cornered her in the basement of her house in Waldorf. Armed only with a putty knife, she took care of the problem. I can only tell you this story now because, as it turns out, salamanders are a protected species in Maryland. Wanda loved just about all animals, except for salamanders, mice, rats, bats, snakes, geese, or alligators, all of which she has had some type of run-in with during her life. Growing up, she used to carry food with her so that she could get stray dogs or cats to follow her home. She's owned dogs and cats and parakeets and fish and cockatiels and horses, and maybe even some animals I don't know about. But I do know that once she owned a pig. At least until she convinced my son Randy that it would be cool to have a pig as a pet. So he pleaded with me, and of course I gave in because I didn't want Wanda, who was my girlfriend at the time, to think I was heartless. The night we went to pick up Arnold the pig, he peed all over the floor in her kitchen. I don't mean he peed a little bit like a dog. He covered the whole kitchen floor. That should have been my first warning. When we took him home that night, I learned what it means to squeal like a pig and to eat like a pig. He would eat furnace filters and the insulation off of the basement wall. Within 3 days, my brand new house smelled like a barn. Arnold only stayed with us for about 2 of the longest weeks in my life. By that time, Wanda's mom had found a friend who owned a farm, and the last time we heard about Arnold many years ago, he weighed more than 300 pounds. Wanda had a really wicked, warped sense of humor, and she loved to play pranks on her friends and family, especially her mom. I can remember us climbing up on her mom's fuel oil tank so that we could put our faces up against the window screen while her mom was playing cards in the house with her aunt and uncle from England. Eventually, her mom or her aunt happened to look over and saw these hideous faces up against the window, threw their cards up in the air, and started screaming blue bloody murder. We laughed so hard we fell off the oil tank. And Wanda could be so patient. As a kid, she used to hide in her little brother Kel's closet before he would go to bed. Then once he came to bed, she would wait until he fell asleep, and then she would crawl out and grab him. As an adult, she once hid behind a chair on her sister Pat's screen porch for more than an hour, just so that she could scare her mom and her aunt when they came outside for a cigarette break. But just as important, she was also a good sport when she was on the receiving end. Once I gave her a box containing a rubber rat. She opened it while she was with her friend Mary at work. They both screamed, and Mary fell backwards into the trash can. And speaking about poor Mary, one time she asked Wanda and me to babysit her kids while she and her husband went out for the evening. Somehow, Wanda got the idea to put a rubber snake I had in our car into their bed. We were never asked to babysit again. Although Wanda wasn't as talented in the fields of music or art, she could cook and knit and sew and shoot baskets and throw a ball and build things and fix things, even cars. She taught Randy and me how to change our brakes. When his car wasn't running right, he didn't ask me what was wrong, he asked her. She always said that she was going to teach her grandkids the important skills in life that are so often ignored today, like how to cook and sew and knit and change brakes. A few years ago, Wanda remodeled Samantha's bathroom as a birthday or Christmas present. When she was drilling holes in the oak baseboard trim, the drill slipped, and she drilled a hole in her finger that went straight through the bone. Now that was painful enough, but to remove the drill from her finger, she had to put the drill in reverse and back out the bit. Wanda just put a Band-Aid on her finger so she could finish the job, and then she went to the emergency room. And she wasn't afraid to get dirty when a job had to be done, whether it was tilling the yard or painting the house. I've been told that once when she had to help paint her mom's house, she painted a special message on the side of the house. Because she used the same paint that was used to paint the house, like white letters on a white background, the words were not easy to see, and it was a neighbor across the street who eventually saw the message. At work, Wanda was an exceptional manager. She could manage anyone or anything. She knew how to read people, how to motivate and inspire them, and how to improve whatever project she was managing. She backed her people when it was needed, but she also disciplined when that was needed. Although she was somewhat introverted, she always had a friendly greeting for the people she knew.
Hey, babe.
I think she mastered those job skills by being an exceptional mother. At least I know she had lots of experience trying to motivate and discipline her kids. If you tried to fool her or do something she didn't like, you would hear,
Excuse me?
Or,
I don't think so.
If you were really in trouble, you might hear,
Adam Ray Turner?
Or,
Samantha Renee?
Or you would get the look. Now, everybody here knows the look I'm talking about. I saw it once or twice myself. Once, after my son Randy came to live with us, she happened to ask him how things went at school that day. Of course, he didn't know because he had skipped school. Well, he thought she knew something, so he confessed immediately because he knew she would catch him if he lied. She had no idea that he wasn't at school that day, and I don't think that until now he knew that she was just making motherly small talk. When you left the house, she always gave you instructions on how she expected you to behave out in the world.
Keep your nose clean.
She carted her kids from one sport to another to keep them active and out of trouble as much as humanly possible. She even coached on some of the teams, all while taking care of things at home and working in the stores at the Hechinger Company. But her kids always came first. After the kids were all grown and gone, there were times when she was tired from work and just wanted to rest on the weekend. But Samantha would come by wanting to go shopping, so Wanda went shopping. Now, Samantha's 3-year-old daughter Chloe is already showing the signs of becoming a super shopper, and Wanda was just waiting for the day when Chloe would drag her mom out shopping. For the past several years, the kids don't come first anymore as much as they did before. They've just been replaced by the grandkids. When our daughter-in-law Maria got sick several years ago, Wanda gave up her career to help with the girls. Whether it was getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go fix breakfast and get them off to school, clean the house, do laundry, or whatever else was needed, Wanda was there. She would pick them up from school in the afternoon, help with homework, fix dinner, and then come home so I could feed her, and then go to bed and do it all again the next day. This went on for years. When the girls got older and didn't need as much of her time, Wanda's mom Joyce got sick, so Wanda went to Joyce's house to take care of her. Through it all, Wanda was always trying to take care of her family to try to make their life a little easier. When my mom got sick last September, followed by Wanda's diagnosis 3 weeks later, her first reaction was about the burden it was going to put on me because she wouldn't be able to help with my mom. She was always thinking about others. Wanda was terrified by her illness, terrified that it might beat her, terrified that it would take her away from the people she loved. So her motto became, "Fight until I can't," and that's exactly what she did. She always said someday there would be no more pain, and she lived with pain as long as I knew her. From stomach ulcers to severe reflux to chronic back and neck pain to migraines, she suffered. But no more. She is at peace now. Someone once said that how we face death is at least as important as how we face life. Good words. And Wanda faced them both with courage and caring for the people she loved. When we die, our life on this earth just disappears, doesn't it? Everything you are in this world, gone in a moment like breath on a mirror. We all change who we are, all the time when you think about it. And that's okay. You've got to keep moving in life. Wanda was a daughter, a friend, a sister, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. They say she's not really dead as long as we remember her. As long as there are people around who knew Wanda, they will remember all the people she used to be. But for me, I will always remember the Wanda who was mine.
Keep your nose clean.
Macaroni. Yeah, I'm choking myself. We're not cauliflower.